So here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a quick game of Blackjack, standard 21. And the only difference is, instead of money, if you lose, you're going to be locked outside of space-time for all of eternity. Good? Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do a quick little review of this game here. It's called Control. I'm not exactly sure where I got it. I think it might have been a Kickstarter, but I'm sure it's available online at this point. It's similar to a game of Blackjack in that the goal is to reach a score of 21 and you win, and you play in a series of rounds. It's also similar in the sense that you get a deck of 52 cards that each have a play value of 1 through 10. There aren't any face cards, there aren't any aces, but still, 52 cards. There are other alterations, I'll get to that in a second. You get these two other cards here, which are basically cheat sheet cards. They give you a loose description of what you do on your turn, and they also have a full rundown of all of the different cards in the deck on the back. And lastly, and for some reason I feel like the reason that I have metal tokens is because I got a special edition like pre-order from Kickstarter or something like that, but you get these point tokens to designate who has won how many rounds. So, getting into the way the game works, the concept of the game is that you are a time traveler whose time machine has slipped into a rupture in space-time, and you are now outside of time, and your time machine is out of fuel, and the cards represent fuel cells. And when your time machine reaches 21 or more points worth of fuel, you can escape back out of the rupture into the timeline, leaving the others like stranded behind in the timeline. You can play with 2 or 3 players. The rulebook says that you can play with 4 players, but you have to do 2 teams of 2. So I don't really consider, that's more like an alternate way to play the game. That's not really the way the game is designed to work. So I would say it's a 2 or 3 player game. A round takes anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, and you usually play 2 or 3 rounds to determine who wins. So it's a pretty quick game. If you can understand Blackjack or even a game like Uno, you can probably understand this game. So it starts off with everybody being dealt, or shuffle the deck, obviously. Everybody being dealt 5 cards. You have a max hand size of 7, and that's your hand. That stays out in front of you. You also then have the deck in a discard pile. So if we just grab a few cards off the top here, that's 3, 4, 5. Okay, good enough. So here's what the cards look like. So in the upper corner, up here, you can see that they have a value between 1 and 10. They also have a color, either bronze or silver, and then they have a name, and they have a special ability. The difference between the 2 colors is that silver cards automatically trigger their ability when you put them into play. Bronze cards have to be discarded to trigger their ability. There's a few other things that you can do, but basically the way your turn works is you're going to take a card from your hand and you're going to put it into play, or you're going to draw a card from the deck, as long as you're not going past your max hand size of 7. So say, for example, I wanted to put this silver 5 into play, which is called Reactor. Reactor has an ability, and silver cards trigger when you put them into play. Reactor has an ability that says this fuel cell, meaning this card, is immune to diffusing once installed. It is not immune to abilities. So here's what diffusing is. That's another option that you can do during your turn. If you have a card whose value, meaning the number in the upper corner, matches the value of a card that an opponent has in play, you can discard that card to make them discard their card. The color doesn't need to match, so you can use a bronze on a silver or a silver on a bronze, but the number needs to match. So that's called diffusing. So this card, Reactor, is immune to diffusing, so nobody can use that ability to get rid of it, or that action to get rid of it, I should say. That's a type of action. Drawing a card is an action, playing a card is an action, diffusing is an action. However, it says it still can be affected by abilities. So if somebody has a card that says, like, trash another card, and I don't know if there is one that says that, but something like that, it can still be affected by that. You just can't use the standard diffuse action to get rid of it. Another one here, this is a bronze 9, and that's called Time Stop. Play anytime a bronze fuel cell is burned, which is you can discard a card to draw a card? I should just check the rulebook, huh? I have the rulebook right here in front of me. Another cool thing about this game is the rulebook has a brief little sort of like comic to set up the story of the game and what's going on. It's kind of nice. It's kind of like deep, I guess. So let's see here. Setup. You can draw a card. You can install a fuel cell. You can burn a fuel cell. Oh, bronze. Bronze cards are burned to use their ability. That's called burning. And then last is diffuse. So those are the 4 things you can do during your turn. So this card, Time Stop, which is a bronze 9, and all the bronze 9s are Time Stop. There's no variation. So all the bronze 9s are one thing, all of the silver 5s are going to be reactors. So time stop says, play anytime a bronze fuel cell is burned, discarded for its power, to cancel its ability. The stopped player gets another turn. So they discard it for its ability, the ability gets canceled, and they get to make another action. They can play a card, they can draw a card, they can burn a card, or they can do a diffuse action. So the rules say the first player to reach 21 or more wins the round, gets a round marker, and then you shuffle all the cards together, you deal out another starting 5, and you play another round. First player to get to 3 in a 2-player game or 2 in a 3-player game wins. And again, I think it's also 3 in a 2 versus 2 teams game, but I don't think that necessarily sounds the most convenient way to play. Another point, I don't necessarily like that it's 21 or more. I feel like that's too easy. When we first started playing this game, we were using the 21 or more standard rule, and it feels like the game is just over instantly. Because all you have to do is play, I mean, if you get a couple of high cards, you win. I mean, if you get like a 9, a 6, and a 7, you win. That's it. That's my math right there. If you get a 9, a 6, and a 6, you win. And that's the game. Any combination of cards. And it's not just that, I guess that's counter to my point. The point is that you can go past 21. It's too easy to just play big cards and shoot past 21. Like, oh, I got 25, I win. So there's a variant of the game called, let's see, the Precise Traveler, where it says you have to reach exactly 21 installed, meaning in play in front of you. No more, no less. And I think that's a better way to play the game because it makes it a little more challenging. It makes it so that you can go over, but you don't win if you go over, and then you have to figure out how to whittle yourself down. You can diffuse your own cards if you want to, so that's one way to get yourself down. I feel like that's a much more interesting way to play. It adds a little more tactic and a little more strategy to the way you play. It just makes the game more fun in general. But other than that, this is Control. I think it's a great game. I've always liked Blackjack. It's my favorite casino game, and to me it feels like a fun variant on Blackjack. It's like Blackjack plus all of the cards are magic. But yeah, it was a cheap enough game to pick up. I think it was like 20, 25 bucks. Like I said, I think I got this off of Kickstarter, but I'm sure it's available in stores now. And if you like card games, if you like quick, fun games, if you like Blackjack, this is a great game to pick up. I would definitely recommend it. But other than that, I hope you guys have liked this review. Thanks for checking the video out. If you haven't yet, go down below and subscribe. It lets me know how I'm doing. It lets me know if you guys are enjoying the content. Also helps me grow towards my 1,000 subscriber point, which is where I actually get to do some cool stuff with the channel. But other than that, yeah, like, subscribe, leave a comment if there's anything you want me to check out, if you want me to do unboxings, if there's a specific game you want me to take a look at, if you want me to change my lighting, any recommendations that you have, let me know in the comments down below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.